What happens?
Hello, welcome to Dinner at Mesric's. My name is Calvin. Today I have a wonderful guest, one of my very close friends. We were coworkers for a little bit and just, kind of popping up on each other's spectrums here and there. My friend Shay, and a very important question for you today, Shay. How the fuck are you?
I'm doing fantastic, things considered. Yeah, happy to be here. I also took a nap today, and it was one of those 1 hour naps where you wake up and everything is awful with the world and everything is spinning, and I'm still kind of in that space, but I'm alive.
Well, I was taking a shit right before this, taking a dump right before this, and I was like, I don't know if I can do it, man. I don't know if I can do it. And I'm like, nah, man, it'll be great. You'll get excited. You'll get juiced for it. So I'm here with you. We're both in Delulu kind of territory,
Mm-hmm.
So I saw, today's meal is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We got strawberry on both sides of the bread, making the peanut butter impossible to spread. Talk to me a little bit about that. I didn't want to ask about it beforehand. Why was this an important, significant step in the creation of a normally very simple thing?
It's important because that's how my dad made them for me growing up, and I wouldn't want to have it any other way. Like, my mom likes to tell this story from when I was little, and my dad was at work, and she tried making me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch, and I was like, yeah, no, you didn't do it right. I did not want it. I basically went on a hunger strike for the rest of the day until my dad got back home, and he made me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I ate it. My mom is like, what's so special about your sandwiches? And he's like, oh, I put jelly on both sides of the bread. So that's the significance there. It's just the right way to do it.
Why does this not surprise me, though? You're like, I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. We're just going to wait till Dad gets home and we'll sort this one out, all right?
Yeah, I'm very much so, fuck this, I'm over it if it's not the way that I think it should be happening. Some things don't change.
Are you still, yeah, exactly. Are you still cooking mainly for the entire household, making sure everyone's fed, or is everyone kind of weeded off as we've gotten older into their own kind of eating patterns and habits?
But yeah, definitely their own eating patterns and habits. I know, I have younger brothers.
Yeah.
But they're not so young these days. They are now 16 and 17.
No.
Right.
No.
Very much so can fend for themselves. So I'm like, y'all got this.
Those little punks that
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro, that's insane.
Yeah, they're both taller than me too.
Oh, that's unfair.
I know, breaks my heart.
I just picture your face like the really?
Yeah, seriously, you're not done growing yet.
What are they?
I get it.
What are they up to? Are they in sports or anything?
They're wanting to learn how to drive. I'm trying to teach one of them how to drive right now, the 17-year-old. And once he gets his license, I'll move on to helping the 16-year-old. So that's been an experience. I've never taught anyone how to drive before. Been shotgun while someone who doesn't know what they're doing is behind the wheel. But it's going all right. We haven't hit any people yet.
Jesus.
So that's the most I could ask for, honestly.
Are we just parking lotting? Or are we kind of maybe a freeway exit or two? Or what are we looking at?
Oh, we're out in the streets now.
we in these dirty Kent streets, bro?
Yes, we're out here in these streets. Yeah, I've not built up the courage to take them on the freeway yet. Because I'm like, I don't have a brake on my side. Whatever you do is just what happens.
Yeah, no, this is not a schooling environment. This is just a do or die situation.
Quite literally, yeah.
You got your license shortly after we started being friends, correct? Or did you just get a whip shortly after we started being friends?
I got all of that. Yeah, I was SpongeBob with it. I didn't get my license until I was
21?
21, yeah.
But you still have the gold whip, right?
Oh no, I actually was able to give my Pontiac to my nephew.
No way, that's awesome.
And I got my own car.
What card you get?
Another one. I have a Kia Forte, so I have to be careful with my shit since that's one of the cars that people get into for shits and giggles and just fuck up. So I'm like, oh, that's great. I got it because like that was the cars that they were teaching us how to drive them when I was going to driving school. So
Okay.
I'm like, I'm comfortable with these. I can drive this. And then I find out like, yeah, they're actually hell easy to break into. Good luck.
Are you thinking of passing that one down also, or is this a new 20 blank one?
Well, I'm still making payments on it.
Oh, for sure.
I'm like about halfway there with my car loans. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it next. Probably will end up giving it to another one of the younger folks. Not anytime soon because cars are fucking expensive. Like,
Dude, used cars because of the COVID that happened. Fucking, it's crazy what kind of shit you're looking at for a 2006 Chevy Malibu, dog. Like, it's hard out here for anyone. Because I was looking at, because I've been lifting to work for ages, and I was like, oh, let me just check out used cars, see what we're looking at. You're looking at 25 grand. Used car used to be like $800. It kind of works. You know what I mean?
yeah, not anymore. Not anymore. Because, like, you go for a car loan, and then it's like, cool, so you're paying for the car plus interest and all this other stuff, and then car insurance costs more since technically it's not your car and you're leasing it from someone else. And recently, I don't know if anyone else is dealing with this situation, but like car insurance rates are going up, at least for Geico. Like my shit went up like over $300, and I'm like, why? And they're like, yeah, you know, the cost of car parts has just gone up and all this other stuff that has nothing to do with you. We're going to make you pay for it.
So there's just like sprinkle a little bit more on. Then there wasn't, I'm asking not to be rude, but no accidents, no fucking red light camera tickets, no bullshit. Like this is just base level.
Yeah, just to do it. Because I'm like, that's unfortunate. That has nothing to do with me. I'm a very safe driver. Like y'all have never had to pay out anything on my behalf. So the fact that y'all want me to pay something, like, fuck it, I might as well get into a car accident if that's how you feel, like.
Oh, because you're 27, 28 now, right?
I am 29.
Oh, yeah, you're 29, right behind us. So, yeah, you're 29. Don't we get the, like, hey, we survived a decade, like, chunk off of our insurance? Like, isn't that, like, how that works? Like,
give us our money.
So, speaking of money, I know you do a couple things right now. Let's go with base level, and then let's go with passion level, because I'm fascinated in both of them. How that has evolved is crazy, because you've always had the badonk. But let's start with what you do daily, what Zoom meetings you're at. What is that job you're doing right now?
So, since about February, March of 2020, I've been a certified peer counselor. And I work with youth in behavioral health, essentially. So that's what my day job is and what I do on my Zoom calls and meetings for.
Can you go into that a little bit more?
A little bit more. So
I'm dumb, remember? I'm fucking dumb, dog. No, me too. I just took a fat bite, got a glob on my face. It's all over. I gotta find napkins. It's a chaos out here, Shay.
Oh yeah, I picked like the messiest meal that anyone could eat. But it's so nostalgic. So yeah, a certified peer counselor basically means that I'm a person who has my own lived experience with my mental health and going through stuff as an adolescent. And now that I'm at a place of, working towards my healing and in my recovery, so to speak, where things aren't as challenging as they were when I was younger.
Tumultuous would be a word, yes.
Definitely a word to use, yeah. But now that, I'm in a better place, I'm just using what I've learned and what I've gained to support other youth who may be going through similar challenges so that they kind of have a person who's on their side to walk alongside them as they make it through their own journeys. So I'm not a therapist or anything like that. I'm just a person who's been through some shit, and I want to, use that for some good.
You do once in a while throw something on the social about it. Is there anything profound that you've taken from working the last, that would be what, 3 years? Almost 4 years? Mm-hmm. Is there anything that's like really stood out that has reoccurred during this outside of just like, oh, I'm helping the Utes? You know what I mean? What's something that you're really taking from this gig?
Just that healing never stops. Like, it is non-linear. It's not a thing where you get to point A and then to point B and it's like, cool, it's done, I'm healed. Like,
I'm fixed, thank God.
Yeah, if only it were that easy. But no, there's ups and downs in it, and even in times where I've been working with youth who've gone through similar things as me, and they're, in the thick of what I thought I had gotten over, and now it's bringing up old stuff for me, and I'm having to, work through these things that I didn't necessarily fully work through when the time happened, so that I'm not, projecting onto people. Or countertransference is a thing, which is basically like I'm treating these people that I'm working with as if they were a part of the situation that I was in, and now I'm kind of pushing my own emotional reactions off on them, and have to be very mindful of what my own shit is, so that I'm not, putting that onto other people. So definitely. And then too, like, when it comes to youth, like, people like to play them off like, you're young, you haven't really lived a whole lot of life yet, there's just stuff that you don't know, and
like their experience is invalid.
Yeah, like their experience is invalid literally just because of their age. And so many of these youth, like, they've lived more life than plenty of adults have. Like, they've seen some stuff, they've been through some stuff, and they're so much more wise than what they're given the credit for. Like, I've learned so much just by, working alongside these kiddos and their own insights into things, and it's helping me to, like, view things in a different light than what I may typically do. So yeah, don't think you're too good to learn something from someone just because you're in a certain place in life. Like, that doesn't mean anything, because everyone has, their own experiences and their own knowledges that they bring to the table. And yeah, just I'm not too good for any of that. I have to step back and, allow other people to take the lead.
What age group are you working with, and are you working with Kent folk? I have this terrible habit of calling people from Kent trash pandas. I don't mean all of them are trash pandas, just most of them are trash pandas. So what age group are you working with? And like I mentioned, are you working with Kent kids?
I work with kids wherever they may be in King County, which is
okay. So you cover the entire county, Jesus.
Yeah, it's a lot. I cover all of King County, and from the ages of 13 up to the ages of like 24 or something like that, I want to say.
Wow.
These adults.
Okay.
For me, like, that transition age is like really what I'm interested in, like that 17 to 24 age range, because like, a lot of the times, like, kids will turn 18 and it's like, cool, you're an adult now. All these things that we were given to support you are no longer going to be in place. Good luck, kid. And that's not cool, because, just since you're 18 now, that doesn't mean that you know everything that you need to know, and that you're in a place where you don't need support from, older adults who have more of that life experience that can help guide you through things. So I'm very interested in, like, supporting that transition age that doesn't always get the attention that they deserve.
Well, there's so many more programs for youngins, for the youths, than there is when somebody turns 18. You turn 18, like you just said, you're pretty much like written off. If you have a good parachute, dope. Most of the time, they throw you a rucksack and go, "I think I packed it correctly," and kick you out of the plane. Well,
The fucking rucksack. Yep.
And it's fascinating, especially around here, to see just in the Kent area, the experience that I have as an overnight gremlin, just seeing the indignance in a lot of these kids, especially the ones that are getting older, because I've been working at the same place for 7 years. So the kids that were shoplifting candy when they're 14, 15 are now shoplifting milk and cereal because they're on heroin. And it's a really fascinating thing to watch as someone devolves, because I knew this person, I met this person. And I think it's really important for King County in general, but even just the little chunk that we're in, getting people that help and getting people that assistance, because at the end of the day, nobody's made it easy to grow up. Especially the last 2 or 3 years kind of fucked a bunch of people. You know what I mean? Because you've been doing that. Were you doing that remotely when you started, or were you going in somewhere masked up, kind of doing your thing?
I literally started my job the month before the pandemic started. And they started doing all this
God.
So in my mind, I was like, cool, I have this job. I'm going to be out in the community and doing all this, that, and the other. And then the pandemic happened and we are all stuck in our houses and I was doing all my work remotely and I was struggling for the longest time there because I'm like, I'm supposed to be using my lived experience, but all of that feels like so irrelevant because I didn't grow up during a pandemic. Like these kids are going through something that I didn't have to go through at that age, and how am I supposed to relate to them? And I had to start just meeting them where they're at based on where I was at because, I also have never been an adult going through a pandemic and trying to normalize stuff like, like I'm confused and scared and don't know what's going on.
You are too, like...
Hate to break it to you, kid, but I'm terrified.
Hate to break it to you. It all sucks, but this is different. This is super suck, not whatever was going to happen. Okay.
Yeah. So I started, literally the month before everybody had to stay at home. So I've been working pretty mostly remote since then. Because even though, we're still, years past it, this stuff is still out here. Actually recently just got over COVID after going years being able to duck and dodge it.
Yep.
Got me. And I was like, that sucks. What had happened was my younger sister, she works with senior citizens, and the home that she was working at had an outbreak of COVID.
Oh my God, the worst place.
They did not tell anyone. She found out when she went to go call out sick and let them know. And they're like, oh, yeah, actually a few different, other employees and residents also had COVID. And it's like, yo, what the fuck?
They pick up the phone. Grandma's going to die and then hang up.
This seems unethical. So, this stuff is still out here, and it's not fun.
Well, speaking of, how everything has changed during COVID, you also started doing, which was the next question I had, you started doing pole dancing, because I know Shay was the girl. She could bounce a cup off her booty with the booty twerk. We loved it. It was a fun party trick. But you've actually evolved that into somewhat of another career path for yourself, and we'll talk about the Instagrams. Tell me about baby cakes, bro. I love Shay. She's my girl. Tell me about baby cakes. Let's talk about this real quick.
So, baby cakes, that is my stage name, my performer name. Where that name actually comes from is back when I was in high school, me and some friends, we would write notes to each other, in class, and then we'd see each other in the hallway. We'd give each other all the notes that we had written. And then we were like, maybe we should give ourselves nicknames, little code names. So if we were to lose any of these notes, people wouldn't know it was us. And my best friend, still friends to this day, she gave me the nickname Baby Cakes, and she told me that when I grow up and become a stripper, that's going to become my stripper name. I have not went down that path just yet, but when I actually did start pole dancing, I was like, that's funny. This is going to be my performer name. So that is Baby Cakes. Where else should I go as far as discussing this journey? Because I could talk about my dancing all day.
I will. Yeah, I'm about it. I'm one of your first and foremost fans, of course. Because I remember we were having a talk and you're like, I want to make videos. I'm like, fucking do it. And you're like, bet. Now you've made this big community and you've got all of these people. You're doing the classes. So just talk about it. Let's start from why you started it, how you got interested in it outside of the twerking. Let's talk about the twerking for turkey that did just pass that I'm interested in. Let's talk about the competitions. Let's just discuss it. I'm fascinated in your booty. All respect to that statement.
Full respect.
Full respect.
For the booty, respectfully. Let's see where to start. So, working is actually something that I've been doing for years and years and years, before I even started pole dancing.
Yeah.
Shortly after I graduated from high school, I discovered New Orleans bounce music. And within that culture of New Orleans bounce, they do a lot of, shaking and bouncing in the booty and twerking. And I was just so fascinated and enamored by this and was like, I want to do this too. So I go on YouTube, I'd find the videos of all the shaking, and I did my best to follow along with what it looked like, what was happening. And what I saw on the YouTube happening was not always what was happening for me and my body.
So you're entirely self-taught with this?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am entirely self-taught with this. And it was something that, like, I kept to myself for quite some time. Like, it was like guilty pleasure for me at first because of the ways that, you know, people treat twerking.
Of course,
you know,
of course.
Sexualized, and I already get sexualized for the body that I have. Like, so I just kind of kept it to myself and worked on it, you know, in silence, in secret, but was definitely something that I enjoyed and loved to do. Fast forward to October 2019.
2019, right before? Yeah. Okay, wow.
The timing of it all. But, like, yeah, pole dancing was, like, something that I'd been interested in and fascinated with for years as well. Like, when I would imagine and daydream dancing, like, I saw myself, like, flying around on a pole. But, you know, talked myself out of it for years for, you know, all the reasons. Like, I'm not coordinated enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm going to get hurt. Like, I just am not going to be able to do it. And I was on Groupon.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I thought a pretty sweet deal. Like, a pretty sweet deal. Did not have to pay too much for it. But then I messaged my best friend about it, and I was like, hey, like, I see this pole dancing class that's on Groupon. Like, do you think I should take it? And she said, go for it. So I went for it. And it was like an intro to pole type series at a studio out in Seattle called Enchant Vertical Dance. And after the first class, like, I was immediately hooked and just so in love with it. And
right off the rip. Right off,
like, I left that studio, like, I want to do this forever and continue to do this.
Okay.
But with it being out in Seattle and, you know, I'm out here in Cam, like, I don't think I'm going to want to make the drive out to Seattle as often as I would like to practice. And, you know, the parking situation out there is ass and
of course.
All of that. So I did a little Google Maps, you know, my little Apple Maps search for pole dancing studios just to try to see, you know, what other options were out there.
Yeah.
And my home studio where I'm now at, Ascendance, ended up popping up, and they're just out in Renton. So I'm like, that is so much more accessible. So by that next week, I want to say like beginning of like November or something like that, I started going to Ascendance and was like finishing up my pole series and going to Ascendance for classes at the same time, just like dived right into it. And then, of course, 5 months later or whatever, the pandemic hit. So that impacted my practice quite a bit, where I, again, was not practicing as much as what I wanted to. Like, I'd go to the studio sometimes, but I also just, like, started my job doing that new territory of things. And then also, too, like, once I started doing my job in the behavioral health, I ended up going back to school as well. So at that time was working towards my associates in human services, which I now have accomplished and achieved and have. Yeah. So yeah, at that time it was like I'm working and I'm doing school, and I was getting really in my head about my dancing too, because it was like, you know, completely neglecting the fact that I wasn't even practicing regularly. Like, I just didn't see myself progressing the same way that I saw other students at the studio progressing in their practice, and it made me feel like I was falling behind and like, I'm just not good at this anyways, like, whatever. Like, yeah. So that kept me from coming back for quite some time too. So I want to say, like, I went like at least half a year, maybe a little bit more, where I didn't dance anymore. Like, I wasn't doing the pole dancing anymore. I was just focused on.
So there was a long hiatus?
So very long hiatus there, yeah, where I was not dancing. And what had ended up happening that got me back into it is I was, you know, checking out the Ascendance app, just looking at the schedule and workshops, just curious about what was going on. And I saw that there was going to be an upcoming workshop from Roz the Diva, who I absolutely love and adore and have been following, you know, her journey for quite some time on the social medias. and she was doing a workshop on building your pole confidence. And I was like, this is exactly what I need. So I signed up for it and started taking pole classes again. And the experience with Roz was just everything. Like, that's another thing I could go on and on about, like the teachings that I got from her in that process. But essentially, like, she just gave me the permission to be able to celebrate myself for where I'm at right now and what I can do, and to not hyper focus on the stuff that I can't do yet, and to just recognize the fact that, you know, I am a dancer, just the time and the energy that I put into it, just, you know, looking up videos and coming to the studio and all that stuff. And it really just shifted the way that I looked at my practice. And from that moment forward, I decided I'm going to get more consistent actually with my practice and come to the studio more regularly and work on my skills. Yeah, that was May of 2022.
Okay, so about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, so about a year and a half ago, I took that workshop and was like, it's time to actually get, you know, serious about this. It is something that I enjoy very much so. And fast forward into like somewhere around that summer of 2022 is when I ended up making my dance page, babycakes_creates, because I wanted a way to keep track of my growth. Because after being away for so long, I was basically like a beginner again.
No,
like,
of course.
Anything that I had learned and gained was no longer in my body, and I was, you know, starting from scratch, but it felt like it. You know, after a while, as you start to build up that strength, the muscle memory starts to kick in again, but it was a struggle, and I just wanted a way to keep myself accountable because people are watching it.
No, of
and
course.
then also to just have a way to, you know, keep track of my progress and see what's happening. So that was within the summer, and around probably October-ish, heading into November, I was like, hey, you guys, so I actually do twerking too, if you guys want to see more of that. Because it was like just my pole page at first, but I was like, I do other stuff and would like to share that if this is something that you're interested in. And one of my followers ended up sending me the account for Ho Aparo, who does the Twerk for Your Turkey fundraiser.
Yeah.
First year that it was happening, and I was like, I'm on it. Like, I want to, yes. So I was working even more throughout the month for the fundraiser. And after a while, jumping all over the place with my story a little bit, but in that 2022 summer as well, one of the other instructors at the studio did like a booty type twerk class, like a little workshop, and it got turned into a regular class by popular demand. So she was teaching that, but she saw all the twerking that I was doing on the gram and was like, you're really good at this, and I'm just curious if you would be interested in, you know, training to be an instructor, and you can teach booty classes here at the studio. And I accepted.
Immediately.
Yeah. Immediately. Yes. Heck yes. Because before I jumped into the behavioral health work that I'm doing, like, I was almost a group fitness instructor. But the day I was supposed to do the training and certification for it, it snowed hella bad, and it was going to be all the way out in Olympia. So I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to make that. You guys, can I just have my money back? And they gave me my money back. But yeah, I was like, this is not too far out of my wheelhouse of interest, actually. And since January of this year, I have been a dance instructor and teach booty, my own little twerk class. I teach intro to pole, so working with beginners. I also teach beginner floor work, so just how do you dance and flow and do cute stuff on the floor when you're feeling over it with your pole stuff. And also freestyle flow is another class that I teach occasionally, so just helping people, giving them prompts to help them think differently about their movement as they try to develop their own style as a dancer. And lately, too, I've been substituting for whole choreo classes.
Okay. And we'll have...
I do a lot of... choreographing.
We'll have a lot of this information, whatever Liz Shay would like to provide, in the notes of the Spotify and of the YouTube. So if you're interested and you're in the Seattle area, do check all of these things out. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. I appreciate the plug. My classes would be nothing without students showing up for it. And
Weird.
I know, right? And I know it can be intimidating into a new class. Like, I don't know this style. I don't know what to expect or what's going to happen, but I'm pretty mindful of these things, having gone through my own pitfalls and my own journey and going through all the feels and the ups and the downs. So I do my best to just normalize the process and meet people where they're at. And I'm here for any questions or anything we need to do to adapt it so that it feels good for you, because, we all have different bodies at the end of the day and we all move in different ways. So the way that I move and what feels good for me isn't going to necessarily feel good for other people. So I try to be mindful of that and support people in wherever they're at and wherever they want to take their journeys. Even if you just want to have fun too. Like, some of my best times in life have been spent shaking my ass.
That being said, what would you offer other than the fact that you'll be there, of course, 100% on their journey? What would you offer to somebody as a kind of last nudge over the edge into that classroom, whether you're taking one of yours or even in your own area taking a class of this style, even a twerk class, just to get a little bit of confidence? What would you offer them to make them push into that class, to make that decision to actually go?
I don't want to say just go for it, but that's like I just had to dive in and see what happens. Keep an open mind is definitely what I would say, because that's one of the pitfalls that I had in my journey that, kept me away from pole for a minute there is, having expectations that, I should look a certain way and it should be a certain way. But, with all things as you're learning new things, it doesn't always, connect right away. But practice does make progress and it does get easier.
Okay. Because I started doing kickboxing. I haven't been in a long time, but it was just a matter of getting in the room more so than anything else. Showing up's 90% of the battle. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd say just go for it and you'll gain something from the process, even if it's just learning something new about yourself. But there is so much that can be gained from dancing.
Or learning that you're terrible at this and, you might want to pick up the flute. You know what I mean?
That too is also valid. Things to realize, maybe this isn't my thing. Like I have a ukulele that's just sitting in my closet that I haven't picked up since I bought it and tried it, because instruments are just tricky for me. Maybe someday, but today.
You said you gained this new level of confidence, and that actually did show when you ended up doing a boudoir shot. How did you end up getting into that? Was that a little present to you? Was it an opportunity that presented itself? Because I don't know how to do it, and I don't think they like my tits. You know what I mean? So that's just me,
You never know. But that was definitely something that was a gift to myself, and just another one of those things where I thought about it for years, but talked myself out of it. I don't have the look, I don't have modeling skills, I don't have the body, whatever. But
I'm not agreeing with you. I'm not. Yeah, you ain't shit, Shay. Yeah, you ain't shit.
No, it's one of those things where it's it's for everybody. Like boudoir, if you're working with a good, photographer, they're gonna work with you and support you and guide you through the process. You don't have to have the modeling skills, because a good photographer, knows, the poses that are going to look nice and the lighting that's going to look nice and all that jazz and get you all your shots. So, shout out to Goddess Rising Boudoir, because phenomenal there. And it's the same with pole and stuff too. It's for everybody. You don't have to think, I'm not a certain type of way, so I can't do it, because I've seen people of all different shapes and sizes and ages and genders and ethnicities, nationalities, all that,
just hitting the pole.
If if you want to pole dance, then pole dancing is for you.
Okay, more
Same
inspiration.
with boudoir. So yeah, and yeah, what got me into the boudoir? Yeah, again, it was just one of those things that I thought about, and I just kind of hit a point where I was like, I don't know, like I just started feeling different in myself and different in my body. Like I really hit a point of just kind of embracing myself in a way that I'd never given myself permission to before. So I wanted to do the photo shoot to just celebrate how far I've come and to have something that was for me. Because, you know, again, you know, you grow up in, you know, this femme presenting body in society, and everybody tells you what you should or shouldn't do with it. And, you know, for me, that put me in a space of feeling like, you know, my body wasn't really my own. It was just this thing that was here for the world to decide what it was for. And finally hitting a point where I was like, you know, fuck that. Like, I am for me and no one else. And, you know, anything that people get out of that is what I decide to share with them. I was just like, yeah, now is the time. I want to do my boudoir shoot. And after doing that, like I especially started carrying myself different then, really owning my power.
It's kind of like having a little cheat code, because even if you're having a bad day and you're double fisting chicken wings, you know, with your bonnet on, crying over, you know, some Scrubs episode, you're still like, man, I look hot. Man, I look real hot. Takes bite of wing. You're like, man, I look good. Like, and I think what's important is, like, I was really worried about my body for a while. I didn't get a boudoir shoot, but I did get some level of confidence because I was, you know, I've saw a couple girls. I haven't really dated, quote, but I met a couple girls that are like, oh, yeah, no, I like dad bod. You're doing great. I don't want a six pack. And I'm like, wow, you know, so there is a body type for everyone out there, and I'm feeling good. Should I work on it? Did I stop drinking, you know, 6 fucking Steel Reserves a day? Yes, I did, because I want my belly to go away, and I need to start doing crunches and stuff. But overall, my body is mine, and someone's going to appreciate it for what it's worth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that part. And then, like, for me too, yeah, like really just hitting a point of being able to, like, appreciate my own body, because, like, you know, aesthetics aside, like, you know, my body does so much for me. Like, I've been able to do so much cool stuff with my life because of the way that my body, you know, carries me through it. So showing gratitude for, you know, all of that, the fact that, you know, my heart is working and, you know, pumping blood and oxygen through me and my lungs, and all these things that are functioning without me even to have to, like, think about it, and just helping me to survive, and just appreciating it on that fundamental level too.
No, definitely. I don't know. I'm blown away at the journey, especially having met you, you know, sitting in a Red Robin.
Yeah, I'd like to say I'm probably a different Shay than I was when you first met me at Red Robin.
Oh, we were crazy, bro. We were fucking crazy. I remember the day where we're just like, we could do Molly right now. And then we did, and then went to work. Like, it was just like, this can happen right now. I went, oh, I guess we could take Molly at 7:30 in the morning and all of us go work our shift. That sounds dope.
I won't forget, like, that day before Mother's Day when we were up drinking those raspberry vodka lemonades, and I came into my shift, like, not even hungover. Like, I was definitely still drunk. I had to go home. It was all bad.
The best story, one of the best stories is us walking you home, which was insane when we did Molly the second time. It was like 9:30 in the morning, and we dropped you off at your old house. But what I remember is the cats being born. I tell this story a lot.
Oh my gosh. Like, what a time for this to happen.
So I'll give you my perspective. I'll set up how I usually set up, but then I'd like your perspective, because I usually tell people like a tidbit of yours. But so we're drinking Blue Moons. We got a case of Blue Moons. We're rolling blunts. We're smoking weed, and we're just hanging out. And it's like 1:00 in the morning. And my roommate, shout out Kaylin, had picked up a cat from outside, and it was pregnant. We knew it was pregnant, and it was coming sometime, but she ate a whole bowl of food 3 times a day. Fat fucking lady carrying around 5 litter. And Kaylin, we were all minding our business, and then Mama Cat jumped on Kaylin's lap and just started, like, kind of purring. And Kaylin's like, oh, that's weird. And then she lifted it up, and out of the cat's vagina was a kitten face coming out. And so we brought it to the box that we'd set up, And then we birthed 4 cats. That was that night. Shay, what was your experience with that night? Because I know it was profound, but I'd like to hear it from the horse's mouth, you know?
Yeah, shout out to Kaylin, definitely. Just the chosen one. I choose to give birth right here.
It was insane. Because normally cats yell. Normally cats are screaming. Mama didn't make a fucking sound.
She was chill. Yeah, it was definitely profound to experience life happening so suddenly. Yeah, I don't know. It really was just out of nowhere. Like, yeah, we knew Mama was pregnant, was gonna have the babies at some point. But that doesn't mean you're prepared for when the babies do come.
No.
So it was like, oh shit, it's happening now. Let's go. Cause like Kaylin had like this little box, like a comfort box with like blankets in it that was set up for when the moment was gonna happen. So it's like, Mama, to the box. We got babies to deliver.
I just remember looking over at you, and we were drinking. I think Brian had passed out. No, Brian left. Brian left because he's like, cat's being born, I'm out. And he dipped.
No thanks.
And so we're drinking, and you're sitting there sobbing. Because we're so fucked up. We're so fucked up at 2 a.m. And you are sobbing. You're like, it's so beautiful. And I'm happy to say I've got this fat lump right here. Habo's right behind me. You got to come by sometime. We'll roast one, and you get to meet the cats because they're like 8 years old now, bro. They're like 7 or 8 years old.
Gosh, that long ago? Damn.
Yeah, that was when we were living in the J buildings.
Man, yeah, definitely have to king. I'm pretty sure I still have like a little kitten picture of one of them.
Oh yeah, they loved you. Oh, also, I tell people the little tidbit of when the cat's in heat. I always remember you're like, hey, I like you, cat, but you're being horny on me or something, and I'm not about that. And you would just kind of like nudge. Yeah, but not that much.
Somewhere else, please. Aim your butthole somewhere else.
But yeah, no, Dory and Hobbs sleep in my bed every night. They wander around the apartment. They love Corey's fiance. Absolutely love Corey's fiance. So.
Yay.
That's really good. Oh, it's so like, yeah, no, that. You having shared the moment my cats were born is fucking insane. So yeah. I really appreciate it. Of course,
I would be over there just faded.
Well, remember
the time that
all the pictures you took, you took, the 420 pictures and stuff where we are like bong in hand, me pass the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, a 420 picture on Snapchat every time.
Life was so simple. Life was so simple.
Yeah, now look at us.
Being adults and shit. Well, Shay.
Over it. I'm ready for someone to revoke my adulting card at any minute now. It's cool.
You can have it. There's that post that's like, I need an adult, but not like me, an adultier adult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Seriously, I need an adultier adult. The fact that somebody okayed me to become an adult is pretty laughable, but here we are.
Well, especially considering what you're doing as a career path.
So much.
Because you're just adulting. That's just super adulting. You're taking on other people's trauma. That's super adulting.
Yes, doing my best to help my community.
Well, Shay, once again, I appreciate you. I love you. We'll talk a little bit more after this. Do you have anything that you would say or want to say to the you that I met when you were 21 so that someone can glean some information from that?
Where the hoes at? I'm just kidding. Let's see. To my younger self.
To 21-year-old Shay picking up fry fills and yelling at, watching me scream at Kaylin.
I would say you don't have to be so hard on yourself. You do not have to be so hard on yourself. You are doing the best that you can with where you are at right now, and things are only going to get better. So yeah, just chill out, breathe, enjoy the things that are happening in life around you right now, because things change. So really just chill out. Chill out, breathe. You're doing just fine. Enjoy what's happening around you right now, because there's more to enjoy as life continues to go forward. So, and I love you.
Oh, and I bet she loves you back, bro. I bet she loves you.
She'd be so proud of me.
Oh, bro. No, I even a couple of years ago, Calvin's looking at me like, who's that guy? You know what I mean? Oh, that shit's nuts.
Right. Even just in this past year, I feel like I've grown so much. So especially like in the past 8, like Yeah, I would just tell younger me to, yeah, chill out and start dancing now. Your life will be happier once you start dancing.
It doesn't have to be a party trick. You can make money off this, dog. It's really.
You can make this a career if you want. And now I am.
Yeah, now you've done it. I will have links for all of the things that Shay has talked about in our bio for the YouTube and Spotify. Just to say it out loud, where can they find you online?
They can find me online on Instagram. My handle is babycakes_creates. And I'm actually on TikTok too with the same handle, but I don't post on there nearly as much as I do on Instagram. So yeah, find me on Instagram.
And if you see
find
her
me at Ascendant Studios, that's where I teach. And yeah, other than that, I don't be going out nowhere doing nothing else. So
except coming over to smoke a blunt sometime.
Yes, I'm an inside cat.
Well, that's going to be dinner at Mesrick's today. We had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with strawberry jelly on both of the pieces of toasted bread, peanut butter in the middle. Thank you, Shay. You can find me every Monday or every Wednesday and every Friday. Dinner at Mesrick's on Wednesday, and Can I Harass You for a Second? Every Friday on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you so much, Shay.
Oh my gosh, I thought that was a question for me. Can I harass you for a second? I'm like, yeah, sure.
I love you, Shay.
I love you too.
All right, we'll talk a little bit more. Peace.
Peace out.